everybody. Welcome to the first PiD Talk. I am Francis Ingrand. I am founder and CEO of Plugin Digital. I am here with Stan, senior BizDev at Plugin Digital. We are working together for 5 years, something like that now. So, wow, starting to be a long time. And so PiD, we are doing many things, but what is the most important is we are doing digital distribution, PC, console, and mobile. We are working for many publishers and indie developers all over the world. We are helping them to distribute their games and to optimize their revenue. And as well, we are doing publishing with our Dear Villagers brand. We do premium publishing on PC, console, and mobile. I am glad to introduce you to Juan from PixelRatio.
So it's Juan at PixelRatio, a studio from Plugin Digital, and we have experience on developing video game, co-development, porting, and helping studios to bring their games to, all the platforms like console or mobile.
So Juan, can you give us more insight about your history, about PixelRatio, what you are doing, etc.?
Yeah, sure. I think that as all of us, it was some kind of dream when you are a child to become part of the video game industry. I grew up between comics, cartoon, video games, and this is something that for sure, I think that since a very child, I wanted to be part of it. And I have to say that we had a lot of luck because I left my my previous job before creating PixelRatio in 2011 with a friend of mine, the former creator or founder of PixelRatio, Juan Lu. It was a very good friend of mine, and we were making video games in our nights. He was in the university, I was working, he was a programmer, I was an artist. So let's say that we had a good friendship for sure, and also we shared the love of video games. So we decided on 2011 that we had an opportunity to make a video game. We didn't finished a video game before. But in my master degree on production, video game production, one of the teachers told us, look, I have this project. I think that you could manage it, or at least try to do it. For us, it was a good opportunity. We wanted to be in the video game industry, and we said, okay, let's go for it. And this is the beginning of PixelRatio. This is how we did PixelRatio. We create the company. We needed, let's say, a company to make it a more official, let's say, the work and things like that. So my friend left the university for a time, and I left my previous job, and we started to make this video game. It was good because it gave us the possibility to demonstrate that we could start a video game and finish it on time, and to do it well. So, and also it was a proof for us that we could do something that we have been dreaming for a long time, and everything was pretty good. And when we finished this first game, we decided to make what we wanted to do, our own video game. Okay, so we started to think how we can do it. And by this time, mobile was a good platform to start. Okay, so we decided to make a video game. We started the production, and we finished what we thought our video game would be. Okay, and we wanted, and we had plans to release the game by our own, and we said, okay, we always have time to do it this way, but why don't we ask for a publisher? Because for us, the industry, the video game industry, it was working in a good way with a publisher, with someone that could help you on the release of the game. It was our first game, and I think that it was a good decision to maximize the opportunities of our festival.
And why did you choose mobile rather than PC or other?
Yeah, by this time our first project was on mobile.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it was good, and for a team of two, we thought that mobile game it was an endless runner, an arcade game, and we thought that it was the best platform to us to see if we can get the trust from publisher and from people playing the game, something experience that we are creating, and it was good. I mean, it was the platform that for us could reach more players, at least to say, hey, we make games, we are here, and that's why we decided to do it.
Okay.
Would you say that, because nowadays what you do with us is mostly codev importing, optimization, stuff like that. Would you say that making your first game on a system that has a plurality of platforms, of hardware, kind of like shaped you into having always optimization in mind and figuring out that, you know, okay, that this needs to run on absolutely everything, you think like that kind of set your trajectory?
Yeah, sure, totally. We were mad at optimization for a long time, and it is because of mobile. I mean, you need to give support to many devices with different specs.
Especially Android, right?
Yeah, especially Android. Especially Android. So it was, it was a mess. But yeah, it's true. Let's say that it configured our way to see video games, to start thinking about optimization. Maybe it's not the natural way. You are going to make a video game, you want to make an experience, let's wait for the optimization. But in our DNA, I came from a simulator. I mean, in my former job, I was working, creating simulators, and the optimization was something very squared in the production. You need to do it since the very beginning. It also helped me to have a standard, production standard. Let's say to have everything measured, the size of the texture, the pixel ratio, the polygon budget, a lot of these kind of things that we put it also into the mobile video game development, and that is in our DNA. Also, I have to say that Juan Lu, the developer, he always had in mind some kind of, I have to say, and I'm really happy to say that because he had in mind some kind of a high standard in terms of performance for video game. Okay, and it was like, no, if we can push a little bit more, we are going to do it. Let's try to see where the trade-off is in order to keep the quality as much as possible, but also to reach, I'm speaking about 2011, 2012, and we were thinking about putting our game 60 frames per second in the mid-range Android, iOS devices, and we needed to achieve it. And we were mad at optimization. And I think that this is something that helped us on the porting side, and to understand that video game development, when you are thinking about different platforms, you need to take into account that there are some restrictions, some limitations. You need to think about it, and you need to see how you can offer the player the best experience. And performance is part of a good experience. So that's why we try to do our best on this side.
And how did you move from self-publishing your own games to port, optimization, etc.
Wow.
Did you meet some companies? Did you see some opportunities?
Yeah, we were making after the release of our game, of our first game, Abbey Escape. We did it with another French company, with a French publisher, Bulky Peaks, and we started to work with them, and it helped a lot on our side.
You pitch them? You pitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was totally crazy because we didn't have the idea to go out with the publisher. We sent some mails.
Okay.
It was 12 in the afternoon when I sent all the mails. At the 5 of the same day, I already had a pre-contract with
Magic.
It used to be faster. It used to be faster.
yeah, because they called me like, okay, I have some ideas to your game. We were searching for some kind of production like that. I want to offer you a co-production because we think that we can offer a good idea to make a better game or a better product. Okay.
Just to be clear, it's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
That's
Not in 2025 for sure.
That is
Yeah.
long ago. This maybe for the people who listen or are watching this and who are unaware of the very specific state of mobile, both from a business perspective but also from a technical perspective. It's a very competitive market with a lot of free to play, but from the technical perspective, and I think this is also important for you, right? It's that it has the worst side of the console and the worst side of the PC. So console, you have to have a lesser hardware in mind, but there's just one.
Yeah.
And PC, you have a more powerful hardware, but there's so many of them that you don't know how they interact. So that's literally how you started. You pitched that, you got your publishing deal, went all right. When did you thought in your mind we can translate that to something else than mobile? We can translate, like take that experience and apply it to porting on console. What was the trajectory to that?
Well, it came very late, I have to say, in the story of PixelRatio. We started to make video game for big brand companies, and it was most of them for mobile. Okay, so yeah, our style of making game was good for this kind of cartoon brands, and we started to make a project with them. It was in 2017, sorry. It was in 2017 when we started to work on PC and in virtual reality. Again, more optimization because virtual reality
Shows the hard path there.
yeah. So again, and we started to create our own technology. We worked hard on that. I think that we did a lot of things that, and the market was not ready. So we decided to put it on standby. And at this moment, we started to open a new way of making games, trying to translate board games to PC video games. And then is when we started to talk to Plugin Digital, or through Plugin Digital. And we started to work on PC. This was our first experience. I mean, we had the experience of the online with the virtual reality. We have the experience on making games from the start to the end. And now we have a new platform with the opportunity to make something a little bit bigger, I have to say. And and this was the first step, I guess, because we started to make this kind of strategy game or board game translated into video game experience. And we started to be more in communication with Plugin Digital until 2020 or 2021?
I think it was 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
We made our first port on Nintendo Switch. It was Imaginica Museum. This was our first port with Plugin Digital. Yeah, and it was great. I mean, we had the opportunity to work on console that we tried in the past, but the opportunity was not, we couldn't do it. But we had Machinica Museum, which is a very great project to explore different ways to play. And this is how we took the port inside. Okay, we can make a game for Nintendo Switch, but we are not, for Nintendo Switch, we are not making games. We are going to make the Machinica Museum experience on Nintendo Switch.
And it was interesting to work on Switch because optimization is a key point on Switch, like on mobile. So it was a perfect platform to move on console stuff.
I think it was also right around the turning point, because I remember that was right around the turning point where Switch started to be less powerful than the iPhones that were released in roughly the same screen size. So it was a funny thing to do. Again, for people watching Machinica Museum, go check it out. This is a 3D puzzle game. So while the challenge was there wasn't anything too crazy about needing 100 FPS, or I think it was a pretty great project to start. The game is pretty chill. There's no action. It's just like moving around, figuring out how to solve a puzzle, making alien technology work again. So I think that when we talked about it for a long time, the first time we met you, it was during lockdown.
It was
really
I remember why.
The first time you came to Mobile, we because we figured out you wanted to transition to that, and we struggled a lot with what to give you as a test run. And both Switch and Machinica were the perfect project. Also because, now it was all of a sudden more technical working on Switch than it was working on iPhone, usually at that specific time.
Yeah, it was really good. We ended with a good experience. We took a lot of information about our porting development, and also regarding the Nintendo Switch device, the opportunities that we can have in order to translate the experience of the video game. So I think it was everything perfect to us.
And what was the most important difficulties you found on Switch port compared to mobile port? For you, it's easier, more difficult, same kind of issue?
Well, we are still working on both.
But from your point of view, what is the most difficult?
But now I would say that we need to. There are 2 points I have to say. Firstly, when you are doing something in console, you need to meet the guidelines and everything like that. So you need to be very strict.
And for people who don't know about this, there's a list of requirements that each platform has that can range from how you call the buttons to how the save works. So whenever it's not as easy to push a game on console as it is to push it on PC. So that's a huge part of your job, is not just making it run. It's making it run according to the way they want it to run.
Exactly.
TRC.
TRC. So we deal with that. This is one of the points. Secondly, it's about performance. That's for sure, no matter the game.
Do you still think that for consoles that aren't, because we can tell people you're not only working on Switch anymore, you work on PlayStation and Xbox, and you're doing the full, and you do all the development for us. Would you also say that it's still a performance problem on like PS5 and Xbox Series, or is it just a different approach to it?
Well, we used to separate both of them. We have on one side PlayStation 5 and Xbox, and on another side we have Nintendo Switch, and depending on the project, Xbox Series S.
Yes,
which is,
that's part of
it. Which is 70% of the problem.
Yes. So we try to approach on these 2 groups differently. Okay, and when we work with the studios and we enter in the project, even in the plan, when we create the plan, we try always to put special focus on Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series S because of the optimization. It's true that PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, they have their own problems, let's say. They are powerful, that's for sure.
And architecturally, they're PC.
I mean,
you didn't use. I mean, I don't know if you worked on like PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4.
No,
I did. I remember that. It was the architecture was crazy. It wasn't built like a computer, so you needed to rethink the way you programmed everything. But PS5, Xbox now, it's literally a PC.
yeah, it's very close. It's very close. That's true. I mean, the good part of it is you have a standard, and yeah, I mean, it's not as wild as mobile or PC.
Easier to test.
Easier to test, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, each group we treat it differently. That's for sure.
And maybe a lot of people either didn't know about porting, or maybe it's like this black magical box, or they think you have like a conversion button on Unity or whatnot. What is it? What do you do? I suppose now you have a pipeline, you've done it enough so that you're, okay, this is what we're going to do. How does that work? How do you take a PC games and make it work on something else?
Well, I guess it depends on engine as well.
On the engine, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Because during this time we have been doing ports from Unity, Unreal, GameMaker, and well, I don't know, but I think that soon we will see our first Godot project. I don't know, but the trend is there.
So, I mean, what would be like the first thing you do? I know the answer, but people who
yeah, for the people too.
What's the first thing you do? You get a project, we send it to you, you check the code.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah, I mean, when we check the code, the first thing that we used to do is to check our background and past project to see something that we can identify as a potential risk. I mean, when we evaluate a project, each project is, I have to say, in the core, very different to each other, and that's fine. But at the end, sometimes we think that, of course, PixelRatio is a video game company, but also more and more a knowledge company, meaning like when we review a project, we can forecast or see previous problems, risks, struggles, and this is the first that we identify. Also, we start the evaluation on many ways. On the code side, seeing how far we are from meeting the TRC, the guidelines that we are talking. I mean, what Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo expect to have on their system, and also we can review how the performance is in our first internal build. This is what we do. I mean, we try to never close an evaluation of the project without a build running on the system. And this is something that we need to do. I mean, this is a must on PixelRatio because it's going to tell you how far you are. I mean, no matter if the first version is not going to work properly, but it needs to work because, I mean, it's going to give you all the profile details that you need in order to set up a document that we create.
So you don't need a gold version, but you need something very well advanced to be sure to cover everything.
Yeah.
At least better.
Yeah,
at least better. Something like that, yeah.
Again, so for the people who are watching, the way it works is we have what we call test kits of dev kits, which are stripped down versions of the hardware of the consoles that we can run basically whatever we want on it. Now, I suppose in the engine, you can choose the platforms you want to build for, so you will build for that, you will test it, and that will tell you right away if you're having proper FPS, if it boots out or if it doesn't. So one of the first things you'll do is just like build it, check if it works, see how it runs, and then there's all the technical part of fixing the code, toning down the assets, I suppose, if everything is like 4K and
exactly. We create we make a profile. The profiling a video game is like some kind of technical check about how it's going, how it's performing in every different console or device. I mean, or mobile or something. So this is our first step, and then we create the plan and go ahead. I have to say that this is the first thing, but one of the most important is about communication. and communication with the developers. And this is a key part. And I have to say that I strongly believe that this is a key value from Plugin Digital and from what we're doing. Because when we start a port, even in the evaluation, sometimes we have some questions. I mean, the developers know the game by heart. Yeah. We don't at this point. So what we want is to have a good communication, just to tell them, look, we are going to face some struggles, some difficulties. We want you to focus on keep creating this awesome video game that you are doing if it's under development. If it's finished, is something different, because we know, but at least we can exchange with them what we think the port will be, where is going to be this trade between quality and performance. If there's something technical that we don't know, and they can share with us. So I think that in the second step, communication is the key for.
And as well, we have to be sure it's manageable, because sometimes, unfortunately, not on PS5 and Xbox for sure, but sometimes it's not possible to move on Switch port or mobile port because of performance, or because of codes or stuff like that. So before to invest money in port, we have to be sure it's manageable, and the final game will be good enough.
Yeah, it's part of our evaluation.
Yeah,
I mean, to
that's
a
key point,
proper and realistic scope.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I think this is the key. I mean, you have...
And we have to evaluate the cost, because if it's too costly, maybe it doesn't make sense to move on, of course. Yeah. It's part of our job as a publisher to make this kind of decision.
And there's so many things that are to be taken into consideration as well. It's always, okay, but do you want to go, for example, physical? Then the size of the build will start matter. Is there multiplayer? Is there continued update? In which case you have to be on the retainer. Porting to console is huge. Now, funny thing though is, well, we can tell it now. We've acquired your company. We're like, we're in the same boat now officially. And we did that specifically at a time where we felt, and Francis here more than anyone else because he's the boss, but we collectively felt that the indie market was shifting towards console with Switch, but the other consoles kind of followed through, right? So nowadays it's getting harder and harder to think about releasing an indie game without going on console. Now, as someone whose bread and butter is to make console games, how have you seen the market evolve? Like from, no, if you want to make an indie game, go PC, maybe mobile, to console is not an option, it's not optional anymore, we have to make it. Did you see things slowly shift?
Yeah. And I think that this is great. I mean, when we think about release a video game on console, I think it's going to be a huge workload on the shoulders of a indie developer studio or solo dev. That could happen. So I think that I'm very happy to see that, because at the end, to put an indie game in a console, it's something for us it's something for us great, because it's like, okay, I want to raise my voice and say, hey, I have another vision of video games. And I know that I need to play with the big dogs. It's true, okay? But I want to be there. I want the people enjoy this video game in all platforms. And we are really proud to be part of it. So I'm really happy that, this shift from indie developers to the console is growing, is now becoming the standard. And this is something that we are really happy to be part of it. It's, as I said, some kind of I don't know the word in English, but I mean, it's a statement. It's like,
it's a big statement. I think it's very important for developer to have a game on console, especially on physical version, and as well for financial reasons. Market is very difficult, very crowded, so more platform you address, more luck you have to make money. That's a way to aim more customers and to make more money. So it totally makes sense, I think, now to move on several platforms.
And first parties, so when we say first parties, we're talking about like in Microsoft and Nintendo and so on. They've also understood the values of indie games. They didn't used to, now they get it. So you get more player. I think a lot of console players, especially the most powerful ones, people used to say that you don't buy a PlayStation 5 to play an indie 2D pixel art game. I think that has changed. Those players are more curious as a result of all those first parties wanting to push indie games further. So you also, because Steam is so crowded and so everything is algorithmic, you cannot talk to someone to save your life. You usually also end up getting more support from the first parties, either financially, but also marketing. And so it's pretty cool. And that is something like I want to ask you, because I started my personal career on AAA and on console, but you didn't. We're roughly the same age. So you must have played like Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation growing up. Does it get old to see one of your game or a game you participated be released on PlayStation, like firing up the PlayStation, the same basic system that you played 25 or 30 years ago, and you're like, damn, I did that. Does it get old, or is it still like magical?
No. It's still magical at all. I mean, this is when it changed everything in PixelRatio when we figured out that we are making people happy to enjoy a video game in its favorite console. And also for us, it's like, as you say, I mean, this is something very important to us. It's like, okay, it's also a big responsibility on our side, because we are translating this great game, even if it's from a small studio, this great game to a wider audience that is going to play in their favorite device or console or whatever. And this is really when like you said, when you start your PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and you see the game you have been working on and say, okay, I've been working here. I've been working on that, and I'm really, really happy that all the people could enjoy this great experience. And I mean, it's still magic to us, and I don't want to lose it. I think that this is cool.
Makes sense, and I think console manufacturers are keen to continue to push indies. They all have indies program to push original content on platform, most of them at least. And now, 20 years ago, console was for one guy in the family, young adult, a man most of the time. Now a console is for the family. Okay, so it means the father wants to play to different games than the daughter or the son, etc. So makes sense to have different games for different kind of audience. 20 years ago, it was quite a unique audience, AAA audience, big games, etc. So it changed everything. So
absolutely. One thing I wanted to touch upon, because we've talked a lot about console, how it is important. Please release your game on consoles. How it's important to have console and so on. I don't want to narrow down what you do with us, just consoles. You also do codev. You help us optimize games. You help us. Basically, for a little while, you kind of like punched above your weight. You kept on challenging yourselves. You've done some tools for us. I'm thinking about releasing all these artworks on Switch and so on. So, now that you're part of a group and we throw all these things at you and all this new possible work, how do you see the trajectory? Is it like, okay, we've done mobile games, now we did ports, now we're doing co-development? Is the trajectory for you be like, okay, next we're gonna do our own game, or we want to do more codev, or like what what pushes you forward at this very moment?
Yeah, well, right now, every time that we enter in a port, we try to treat it as our own game always. Meaning like we need to treat it with a lot of respect because of the people that is working, the original developer. I mean, is their baby, and we need to take care of it also. But in any case, we try to treat every project as it is a PixelRatio project, okay? And I think that this is something very important. And also right now, we feel very well, I mean, working with other studios in porting side is giving us another way to understand video game development, how to tell stories through video games. Yeah, this is the part that we for sure want to keep going, and it also helps us to grow, to learn, and try to improve always. For sure, we want to make our own games at some point. This is something that we would like to do. Yeah. That's for sure. We are, if everything goes well, we are going to pitch something internally very soon. So
Bring it to me.
hopefully, we will see. Hopefully, but yeah, I mean, we are very comfortable with all the things that we are doing. First of all, we wanted to, since the very beginning, as you know, we wanted to be part be a useful part for Plugin Digital. Okay, and we wanted to help in all this kind of project of porting, internal development, and so on. And we are good. I mean, we want to go ahead, but also, yeah, for sure, as a video game studio, we would like to, at some moment, we would like to try and make our own game, maybe in the future. We will see.
And your company grew now. I mean, you're way bigger than you were 5 years ago.
We are 10.
And you were 2.
Yeah, we are
starting to be serious.
Yeah, remember that in 2021 when we had the meeting, we were 2.
Yeah.
Making a lot of things. So we have been growing thanks to Plugin Digital. So we have been growing, and
we will talk about acquisition right after. But
yeah,
just before, we talk a lot about console port, but we have to say as well, you do still a lot of mobile port as well, and sometimes both mobile and console port for some games, because we have to say PiD strategy is to be on all kind of platform, mostly on premium business model, but it's very important for us. It's part of our DNA to be on mobile, all kind of mobile, PC, cloud gaming, and all kind of consoles. Mm-hmm. So it's part of things we found very sexy with you. It was, you came from mobile, but you are able to make console, PC, of course, if needed. So that's very interesting. And it's not so common because a lot of studios are more or less specialized on console, but it's not always easy to find studio able to and happy to work both on mobile, PC, console. So yeah, maybe you can just give us a few words about mobile ports because it's important too.
Yeah, we have a wide experience on mobile, and this is cool. I mean, the fact that we can make mobile and console port or PC is that in PixelRatio, what we used to do is to share the information as much as possible between all of us and help each other when we are creating a port on mobile or on console, but especially on mobile. All the people that have been working on mobile is going to share all the different risks, all the different struggles that we are facing, the challenges and things like that, and try to standardize, let's say, all of these kind of things. It's true that in the optimization side is something a little bit critical, okay, depending on the project, but yeah. And on the other side is about the game experience. On mobile, yes, you need to think more about the game experience because the first exchange between the game and the player, which is the input, is totally different. Okay, and it changes the experience completely. So that's why internally we have people that have been facing this kind of challenges before, and we try to tell everyone what we did. If we made a mistake, try to not to do it, and try to work on having a good mobile experience for each game. So we need a little bit of time at the beginning to think about it, and the Plugin Digital mobile team always help us on that.
Yeah, more on the UI, UX.
Exactly.
It's a key point on mobile.
Yeah,
on console is easier.
This point is easier. But on mobile, you need to think about what kind of experience you want to offer to the player. And mobile team from Plugin Digital always help us on that.
For sure. I think mobile port can't be just a technical port.
No.
Yeah, no,
It's
you
not
have
possible.
to kind of like
You have to
remake the
think
game.
about game experience, user experience, etc. And we have to say sometimes we decide to not to go on mobile because of that. Of that.
Yes.
Not good enough, and game experience won't be good on mobile.
And it also forces you to sometimes change the business model. You were talking about Machinica Museum. We can talk roughly about it. It's a premium game on PC. It was a premium game on Switch. And we decided to do a freemium on mobile. So that's like a whole different approach to it. It's like you can play the first level for free and then you need to pay. So it's porting on mobile is porting to, it's not just porting on a different hardware, you're porting to a different ecosystem with players who have...
Maybe could be different, business model is different, price point is different.
But player habits are different. Usually, they play when they commute, it's shorter sessions, so you have to adapt to that. There's a lot of game design, I think, implied, and design in general implied when you thinking about taking a game to mobile.
We need, when we make the evaluation, we need a little bit of time thinking about it. If this information, we share this information with Plugin Digital, with the mobile department, and they used to offer always very good ideas about how to translate the video game to the mobile version. But definitely we need to work in the experience. Lately, an example, we were talking in console, regarding the console, with the TRC, the guidelines, something that you need to meet the standard, okay? Mobile, maybe it seems wild, but it's not. I mean, the people expect some kind of input control, some kind of behavior in the menus, some even in a different kind of game, they expect some kind of a standard for this kind of game, for the racing game, for endless game, for action game. So, and as a whole, I mean, is how you interact with the game, what is the experience that I'm getting, what's the business model that the game has, and everything is impacting at the end in the game design, or the game design is impacting in all the different, let's say, topics or subjects. So, I agree that if we face a mobile port, we mostly all the time we think first about the game design.
Although there are some very few occasions, we almost had one, like we've done in the past without them, but we almost had one, it didn't go through, we can't say the name, but there are the very few occasions when we have to go, when we're having from mobile to PC and console. And I remember this one game that we tried to get together, and that was entirely based on touch. Mm-hmm. And we needed to find ways to make it playable with a controller. You remember that? Yeah. And to find ways to make it playable with keyboard and mouse. And that was a different type of heartache. So that's very rare, but it does happen that we go from mobile to PC and console. We did it once. But it's very rare. But that was a different type of challenge.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge that we're ready to accept.
Because also like the game was thought to be played vertically, and it was like, So how do we do that? Okay, you can do it on Switch, but how? It's.
Do you know how many games you port? Wow. In PixelRatio history, roughly?
I think that we are nearly between. I think that. We can say 15.
15?
Or at least.
If not between 15 to 20, I have to say.
And
I think so.
in average to 2-3 platforms, so it means 60 to 80 port,
Yeah, well,
something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we're keeping you well busy.
Yeah. we are.
So yeah, Juan, I remember that. I mean, now we're going to talk about the fact that you're now incorporated within the group, because Plugin Digital became a group not so long ago. No one that's not very interesting by itself. I think what's interesting is peeking a little bit behind the curtain of what happened. So just when we started thinking about how it was important to be on console at release, because back in the days it used to be PC release, maybe 6 months later we might do console, which we were struggling with a lot of different porting companies, different production pipelines, you know the drill. So we started figuring out that we should probably have like that one company. So I remember we're giving away little stuff, right? You came to Montpellier from Spain because you're based in Spain. We haven't told that. You're based in Spain and you came to Montpellier during lockdown.
Yeah.
So I remember intern communication was a little bit scrambly. I was in quarantine at home and they said, you need to come to the office, meet this Spanish guy. And I was like, what? And so we talked about that. You were 2 at the time. So as you said, you're 10 now. So I remember expressing quite vocally my doubts about how 2 people are gonna take care of all our console production. That was not the plan, obviously, but so you went from 2 to 10, like the journey, man. How did it go from the first talk to Plugin Digital to when you meet us? We worked together very closely for a couple of years after that. So yeah, go on, tell us your experience.
Yeah.
First, we have to say we met before, because when you work for Bulky Pix, and we distribute Bulky Pix, so we met at Paris a few years before lockdown, etc.
Exactly. We met in this dinner that we had.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So it was really cool. I mean, during these years since the lockdown, when I was here for the first time, a lot of things have happened. I have to say that it was not let's say an easy way, but Plugin Digital made it easy for us. I mean, this is something that I'm very grateful. We had the opportunity to work together in new games, to reach new projects that for PixelRatio were like far away, and meaning like console ports. At least to touch the console side mainly. And I think that it was, it has been a very good adventure, and we are very happy to be part of Plugin Digital. During these years, we started to make video games for PC at the beginning. Then we started Nintendo Switch, and we needed to demonstrate that we could build up a team good enough to go ahead with all the projects that you shared with us, and try to prove that we can be a trusted partner, that we can work together, and that we can have, let's say, a vision in common, and share this way to bring video games to the player. And this is the most important thing. And so that's why I said that Plugin Digital gave me all the support, and I'm very grateful for that, because, if I look back, I can say, okay, in 2021, we were only 2. We needed to make a team, double our team in the first year, then double the team in the year after.
And it's not over.
I know it's not over. And we need to learn about this experience also. And because it's not, better than me, it's not easy to grow. There are new challenges when you grow. And all the team needs to share more or less the same vision, the same way to do things. This is the most important to us. And I always had someone from PiD or from the villagers always back, helping us, giving our support. So I have to say that it was a good experience, and I'm happy to be here.
I think culture is important, as you say. So to work with a Spanish company, it's easier for French people to work with, I don't know, Asian or South American company because...
Are you talking to the half Asian guy who lives in South America?
That's why I'm saying that. No, but for the culture, it's not a problem. And as far as we already work with the PixelRatio in the past, we trust in the company and in you. And what was very interesting for us as well was your mobile culture, because as I said, for us it's very important to be able on all kind of platforms, and it's easier to find a company with console experience than a company with mobile experience, because it's more difficult to find on the market. And I think it's easier to move from mobile to console than to console to mobile in terms of experience. Mm-hmm. So that's why when we started to discuss together, I thought PixelRatio was a good candidate because you have this culture, and now it works quite well. So
yeah, and to retrace it properly, because although it's been a bumpy road, we grew too.
Yeah.
But we were like 25 and we're 60 now. And
you said you were 2, we were 25.
Yeah.
Now we are 70
and also, I mean, that could be a good, but you're our first acquisition. So there was a lot to learn on both sides. You know, it was, okay, how do we integrate a new company within our workflow? What is our workflow? Now we needed to rethink also the way we thought about porting. So that taught us to rethink how to do marketing and how to do scouting and how to do production. So the learning curve was mutual, I think. So it's kind of like, it's a funny thing to go from like, yeah, okay, let's throw you one thing and, take you by the hand and carry you a little bit. And nowadays, to be super honest, I think you carry us most of the time, when we're deep into production. So it's funny to see how things went from one meeting during lockdown to where it is now, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So now we can talk about console.
Yeah. I think the one thing that people might not know, so I think everyone might fathom that it is a very technical and complicated task to port a game on console most of the time. What people might not know is how time-consuming it is to actually release it. So we talked a little bit about TRC, all those rules. It could be stuff as stupid as you display a controller in your tutorial. Well, if it's not the PlayStation controller, that's not going through, right? So you can't have a website address in the credit of your game with Nintendo, and all this little thing. And it takes a month to pass certification, 2 weeks to lock prices, or you cannot submit whenever you want on PlayStation. So how in your own, I mean, we know because we've been doing that for years and decades even, in your experience, how near impossible it might be for a solo dev to go through all those hoops by themselves.
Well, yeah, I think it's for sure is a big task. And I think that it is part of the reason that we are here. I mean, it's not easy because there are so many challenges to put a video game in a console. In console, or if you have it in PC, put it on mobile, or things like that. I mean, to make a port at the end. And I think that one of the important things here, and one of the reasons why we are here, is to let the developer to focus on what he is doing well, which is the video game. Try to translate this experience for all the players, for all its audience. And we are going to help them with all of these struggles, with all of these risks, with managing a lot of tasks that or a lot of, let's say, rules that you need to meet with your game in order to send it. Also to give them a clear idea about what will be a plan when we need to have some kind of version of the game that could be approved by Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft. What are the main topics that we need to cover? And I think that this is why it's good that in my opinion, that the indie developer could count on us, because there is a lot of things. They have all the passion to make the video game, but sometimes they don't have all the time to do a lot of things that you need to cover in a port.
And it's not creative. I mean,
exactly.
Going through it's like a little backstory. We don't. So the way we do distribution for consoles, we don't charge the studios who come to us, right? We take a part of the revenue, and that is the core of our added value. Because while we can argue that they could be technically able to do the port by themselves, actually being able to submit, pass all the craziness, and go through it, now that's something else. That is the value that we add, for the fact that, you need your store page to be translated in like 15 languages to just release on PlayStation 5, keep up with the crazy rules that change overnight. How do you manage the life cycle and the international pricing? It's not as easy as Steam, basically. There's no self-publishing tool on that. Everything goes through someone, and the rules change. They're all different. So this is, I think, collectively, you now being part of what we do and who we are, that is what we bring to the indie studio. This is the most boring part of it all.
And one thing to say is, to port on console, you need a material. It's not the case on mobile or PC. You need dev kit, development kit, mostly. So it's not always easy to get one, especially on Switch 2 at the moment, for instance. So for sure, plugin as a publisher, we have an easy access, let's say, to dev kit. But for an indie dev, solo dev, or small studio, it's not always easy to get one. It's costly, because it could be quite costly. So at the end, it's not so easy for everyone to move on.
Could you tell us, like, just funny story, like the most ridiculous reason why a submission has failed for you? I know I have my own, like, why story, but what would be yours? Just like one anecdote.
Well, I didn't have it to prepare in my mind, because we have some failures in this kind of approval. But yeah, I mean, something very stupid, like, an example, take care about a good expression in a tutorial. In example, what we're talking about, you need to meet exactly you cannot be too much creative when you want to show a controller, in example. So you are thinking like, okay, this is going to be good because we are meeting all the different rules. This graphic looks cool and is integrated in the game, and then someone in Sony is going to tell you, well, look, wait a little bit. No, I need something more clear. But yeah, I mean, we have something like that. Not very funny, I have to say, when you face it. But something like that.
I think, like, my personal horror story for failing a submission is, you have to name the build a certain way. And I think, like, it was something stupid, like either one capital letter was not capital, or one was a 2 in the name of the build, and we failed submission for that.
Yeah.
We just needed to rename the binary, but we failed.
You must be very square on everything.
Yeah. It is. And also, and one thing I want to tackle is so we build relationship with the first parties. We meet with them all the time, maybe 3-4 times a year. And so this is also our job to be on top of the changes, because those rules change all the time and without any warning, right? And sometimes even some games released make them realize something, and then they started implementing new rules. I think it was the Metal Gear Solid 4 that implemented the rules because it was just so long, the loading screen, when Snake was smoking, that because of this game, they implemented the rule that you need to have a now loading for anything over 5 seconds or so. So it changes all the time. It's never fixed. So it's also our job to talk to them, have the doc, have the new info, and make sure that you don't go crazy with it, because like that will drive you mad probably. We have like a team of 3 people doing that.
Yeah, we have our internal tester that is in charge of quality, but also on our guidelines. She used to review things. Is crazy, because it's what you say. Sometimes, from one day to another, different amount of guidelines now are become one. Now what you thought it was needed yesterday now is deprecated, and you need to meet another new rule. So yeah, it try to be updated with this is a work. Yeah. I mean, and that's why, well, if we go back to the subject, that's why we think we can help the developers to focus on the creative side, and let us help you on these other parts that are important, but
makes sense.
Absolutely.
You can't be good on everything. So,
it's impossible.
So it's impossible. So,
and especially because sometimes they will make up the rule as they go. Also, it happens that technically you meet the criteria, but they will just like refuse something because they don't feel like it. They can and they do that. So it's not a matter of talent. It is a matter of knowledge, but it's also a matter of like, is it really your job, you in the studio, to go through that? I don't think so. That's what we do, right? This is why we take the cut that we take. Yeah.
Just we are at the end of this podcast. So we talked about PixelRatio 5 years ago, 2 people. How do you see PixelRatio in 5 years? How can you imagine PixelRatio?
Yeah, well, I think that the trend is that we are going to keep growing, but for sure what we want to have is new games, new challenge to work on with you. And why not maybe do something together internally? I don't know, a video game. But yeah, for sure, this industry always has a surprise, and we want to accept any challenge that could happen in the future. And we are ready for that, and we want to keep doing video games. This is our dream. We are doing it. We are going to fight for it, that's for sure.
Thanks a lot, Juan.
Thanks, Juan.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. Of course, if you have some ideas, if you want to join for a PiD podcast in the future, don't hesitate to reach us, and we will be happy to receive you over there.